Kimberly Turner from cookingwithkimberly.com, and tonight I'm going to show you a recipe very close to our heart, and it's very traditional for our family. We're actually making beef beet borscht. Now, it's obviously going to be made with beef, and it's going to have beets in it, and it's going to have a lot of cabbage in it. There's a little bit of carrot, and there's I've already diced up my beets and peeled them, and I have, I don't know, this is probably 1.5 pounds of meat, would you say, Mom? About 1.5 pounds?
I would say so.
And it's just beef, stewing beef, okay? And I've cut it into nice little chunks that are maybe 1 inch large, okay? Inch cubed. So, first things first, I want to season this beef just a little bit. We're going to do that with some pepper. I'm not going to put salt in because I'm going to season with salt in the soup. I'm not going to do that. I don't want to leach the liquids out of this beef. I want the beef to become more moist. So I'm going to finely grind up this pepper because it's going to be tossed in with my beef and some flour. And we're going to brown up that beef first. Now, stewing beef isn't a beef that you can just brown up and eat right away. It needs to sit in some nice hot water. It needs to simmer in a soup or a stew so that it can actually tenderize up. Now, stewing beef has this nice connective tissue, and that's what's going to make it so beautifully tender, but you have to make sure that you cook it long enough that you can break down that collagen, okay? So we're just going to toss that with, I don't know, 1.5 tablespoons of flour, I would say. Let's see how that goes. You just want it to be coated. Now, this makes for a nice coating so that it can brown up. I need a little bit more flour. Mom's going to help me. A little bit more than that. There you go. All right, you don't want this beef to steam in this pot. You want it to brown nicely. And the flour helps you get that done. It's gonna soak up any of that excess liquid on that beef, and it's gonna help it achieve a nice browned crust on the outside, okay? So I'm just tossing it with that flour and that pepper. Now, if you wanted to, you could put smoked paprika in at this point. You could put some cayenne. You could put some chili if you like. We don't do that. We're keeping it nice and simple. I need a little bit more.
Flour.
Thank you. It's because I cut them in such small chunks that they all need to be coated.
Oh, it's going to be so good, though.
So not only is this going to help us get a nice browned crust, but it's also going to help thicken our soup slightly. So it's not
color
so,
it.
yeah, so it's not so liquidy, you know? So watery, I should say. Okay, these are lightly dusted, as you can see. I have my large stock pot on a medium-high heat right now. I'm going to put in maybe 3 tablespoons of sunflower oil. Feel free to use whatever kind of oil you like. This is a little bit less flavor than like an olive oil, and it's it goes beautifully with Eastern European cuisine. That's what we use for our goulash as well, Mom. So into the pot, it's going to sizzle my meat. We're going to brown it on all sides nicely. This is only going to take, I don't know, 5-6 minutes probably. Oh, it smells so good, Mommy. It's the perfect time to make this. It's getting nice and cool in the evenings, and this is a weekend, so this is going to probably serve us throughout the weekend. I won't have to cook tomorrow, which is awesome blossom. So we have some rice ready, but it's also going to be beefed up with potatoes. It's got cabbage, it's got the carrots, it's got the beets in it, and of course a lot of beautiful flavor. So that's how we're getting started. You make sure that beef is nice and brown before you take it out. To the pan, it's sizzling nicely, and to the pan I'm going to add a nice big bay leaf. Just like my mama does, I'm going to add 1 clove. It's just like her mommy did. Our soups and stews pretty much have 1 clove, usually a small one, but nonetheless 1 clove. Now, don't be alarmed by the rolling pin. We're making a beautiful peach pie tonight. Make sure you check out the recipe for that because it's going to be outstanding. So don't mess with the meat until you think that it's nice and brown on the one side, because you don't want to rip all that nice coating off. You want to let it get that brown caramelization on it. So kind of leave it alone and let it do its thing. Okay, to the pot I'm going to add maybe 12 peppercorns. And I don't know if I've seen Mom do this, but I like to add some mustard seeds to my European dishes. I'm adding maybe 1/2 teaspoon.
Grandma used to do that.
Did she? You know why I started doing it? If we had but the faith of 1 mustard seed. That's why I started that. All right, so we'll see when this is all nice and browned. Okay, this has been going for a while. And you're gonna notice that you're gonna have a lot of crunchy bits stuck to the bottom of your pot. And that's exactly what you want. That's flavor, accelerated flavor. So my meat is browned. It took about 10 minutes today. And today, instead of using white wine in our borscht, sometimes we don't use any wine. But today we're using beets, and it's gonna color the soup a nice reddish color anyway. So tonight we're gonna use a red wine, a fabulous red wine from the Niagara region. It's from Rancourt Winery. This is a 2012 Malbec. It's unoaked, and it's a really unique wine to our region and actually to North America, maybe even the world. So it's a gorgeous one. Make sure you check them out at rancourtwinery.com. So we're gonna use the red because red goes with beef really nicely. And this is a really hearty soup with cabbage and really strong flavors. So this can hold,
Yeah, we don't mind the soup, you know, getting red. Like
That's right.
Turning a little darker red.
So this is gonna help you deglaze the bottom of this pan, okay? We're gonna use about maybe 3/4 of a cup. Smells so delicious. Okay. So what you're gonna do now is you're gonna scrape the bottom of your pot here, and you're gonna get all those nice little crispy bits off and into the wine. Oh, the meat looks so good today. I love beef and red wine. There's just the match made in heaven.
It sure is.
Get it all off the sides. Make sure you get those nice crunchy bits because that is where you have flavor.
Yes, it's worth the extra time it takes. I mean, you could just throw that beef in there and with water and cook it up, but
And it would be fine. I mean, there's nothing
it
wrong
would
with
still
that.
turn out to be a pretty good soup.
But if you want to layer flavor and really accentuate it, that's the way to do it. So I have this really cool bouquet garni holder, and in here, I'm using this today because I have stalks of parsley and stalks of dill. Now we've used the leaves off of them, and I just had the stalks, and I put them in the freezer ready for such a time as this. So this actually hooks onto the side of your pot so that you can fish it out later, and it keeps everything together. That's gonna go in. Now, I'm gonna add a whole bunch of water. I would say this is probably 10 cups of water.
Yeah,
A little bit
that's
more.
10 cups.
A little bit, tiny bit more.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna add a couple more cups of water. I'm looking to fill this to about 3/4 of the way up my pot. We're gonna let this go. This is going to heat through and simmer. I'm gonna bring it up to a boil and put it down to a simmer. It's going to let it go for at least 30 minutes before I put anything else in, the cabbage or any other vegetables. The cabbage takes longer than any of these other vegetables. So that's gonna go in next, and make sure you have it chopped up. I just have it into nice bite-sized chunks. I've done the same thing with my beets, and I've cut up one large carrot. So get those things prepared, and you'll be Speedy Gonzalez when you're ready to add everything. We'll see you in about 30 minutes. Okay, our borscht has been going for maybe 40 minutes, I would say now. We're baking a peach pie. Make sure you check out that recipe. It's ridiculously gonna be awesome. So now I have my cabbage, my carrots, my potatoes, and my beets. And all I'm putting in right now is my cabbage and my tomatoes. The tomatoes are gonna help flavor the liquid as well as tenderize that meat up. And the cabbage is gonna have to cook just a little bit longer than the other veggies. I don't want them all totally mushy, but the cabbage is gonna take a good 30 minutes all by itself.
Yeah.
So in goes my cabbage. Now that was bite-sized pieces, and that was the inside half of my cabbage. So if you're just using a whole cabbage, chop it in half and use half a cabbage. And I'm using one large tin of whole tomatoes. I'm just gonna squish them in with my hands into the broth, and I'm gonna also add the liquid. Now these tomatoes will break down all by themselves as well. I'm just giving them a little head start. Now you can use as much beets as you like. I already have them peeled. They are cut into nice little about 1-inch chunks as well. I have about a cup and a half here. You can use more if you like. I have one large carrot. That's probably a good cup and a quarter's worth. And then I have maybe 6 or 8 smaller potatoes. I don't know, that's probably 4 cups of potatoes cut into chunks. And I just have it chilling out here in some cold water just to keep it from discoloring. At least everything's ready and prepared. I like to have everything ready so I could just throw it in. Now you're gonna drain these guys before you add potatoes. Don't add all that water too, okay?
Oh.
That's right. So we're gonna let this go for another 30 minutes and we'll see you then. Bring this back up to a boil as quickly as possible and turn it down to the simmer again. Okay, we have 3 things left to add. It's been enough time for our cabbage to soften up and to break up those tomatoes even more. Now we're gonna put the beets and the carrots in together, and it's gonna take about 15 minutes before we add those potatoes. So let these guys go for another 15, bring it back up to the boil, down to the simmer, let it go. To be nice color from those and nice sweetness imparted. Already letting go of its color. Fantastic.
I see that.
We'll see you in 15. Okay, it's been about 15 minutes. I have my potatoes ready, and I'm just going to drain the water out of here. All right, you can see them a little better now. Now I just have nice chunks. They're about, I don't know, an inch-ish cube. And I'm going to take out my bouquet garni mesh because it's pretty large, and I want to add these potatoes to cook properly. Be very careful because it's hot. It's already done its job and given me as much flavor as it possibly can. So, into my pot goes the potatoes. Stir them in. I'm gonna bring it up to the boil again as quickly as I can. These guys are gonna take maybe 20 minutes to tenderize up. You just want them to be knife or fork tender. I also like to make some rice on the side. Some people like rice, and it's nice to have extra rice around for the weekend so you don't have to cook. All right, this soup is ready. The beef is ridiculously tender. The potatoes are knife tender. Everything is all married and it's delicious. Make sure you taste test it and see if you need to reseason with salt and pepper, but ours was perfect. I didn't have to add anything else. Okay, so into a bowl, we're gonna share it. Put these beets. Oh boy. That looks beautiful. Oh. Look at that. Wow. Whew, that's hot. All right, so I don't know if you can really, yeah, you can see it. It's a beautiful bowl of beef beet borscht. Can't wait. I would suggest to serve, if you want to sprinkle with a little bit of fresh dill, you may. We don't have that, so I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of the dried. It's all good. There we go. Gorgeous.
Perfect.
Gorgeous. Now this is a gorgeous bowl of beef beet borscht. Fantastic. Triple B, Mom. Look at that. Beautiful. Beets are so pretty. You can see the colors and the striations in the vegetable. The beef is just falling apart, literally.
I love that.
You get the little flecks of orange from the carrot. The potatoes are going to make it nice and hearty, as well as those tomatoes and the cabbage. And the broth is so good. Know why? Because we browned that beef so well, and we added that gorgeous Malbec wine.
Exactly.
Now you can serve it up sprinkled with fresh dill, or if you don't have fresh, just a little hint of the dried, and it's good to go.
Beautiful.
Now traditionally speaking, we often serve alongside it some sour cream if you want that, or some white vinegar. That's how I remember Grandma and Grandpa used to eat it. But usually on the first day, I don't mess with it. I eat it like this, and then the next day is when I doctor it up, so it's a little bit different. Ooh, Mommy, you ready?
It's hot. It's really hot.
It's
steaming.
A hot family delicacy. When Mom would visit me at school and university down south in the United States, boy, she'd have to make borscht for me while she was there.
Yeah.
Perfect. Really, really delicious. That broth is really flavorful. It's a nice reddish orange color. Let's try a beet.
I just had one. It's so good.
Yeah, I just had cabbage and a potato.
This is delicious.
Beets are good. There it is, beef beet borscht, right on my spoon. The tomato gives it a nice little bit of a tangy flavor.
The beet is falling apart.
Melt in your mouth.
Awesome.
That's fantastic. Now, if you're a family that enjoys eating garlic and onion, you may very well add that to this. You would add it, you can add it at the beginning because you want them to kind of melt in there, So I would add it when I added the beef, likely. And just
shortly after.
Yeah, and just let that simmer and simmer and simmer. The same as the garlic. You wouldn't want to fry up the garlic with the beef because it would just burn. Wouldn't be cool. But if you want to add an onion, I would add 1 large onion, and if you're going to add garlic, I'd add 1 or 2, you know, maybe 2 small cloves of garlic. Yeah? But, I mean, we don't often add garlic to this ever anyway.
This is good.
It's fantastic. And it's perfect for a night like tonight. We've made some rice in case you want to eat that with it as well, or eat that with it tomorrow, right? Just beefs it up a little bit more. But this is full of stuff. Like, sometimes you make soups.
Such a healthy soup.
Yes, it is. Sometimes you make soups and it's just a lot of liquid and a little bit of stuff at the bottom. This is jam-packed full of cabbage and all these vegetables and a nice amount of beef. We used more than 1 pound. If you use 1 pound, I think it's a little bit skimpy.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, that's good. And I don't even think we added much salt at all. I think we added like a 1/4 teaspoon of salt.
So
That's
good,
so
Kim.
good.
Delicious.
That's how you do it, folks. That's how you make a beet borscht. You can do it too. This is a lovely Eastern European recipe. I would say that the Russians, the Germans, Ukrainians, they all pretty much make their own version of borscht. And every family makes their own version on top of that. This is ours. This is the Casper family recipe. And that's how we do it.
Kim cuts the vegetables a little bit bigger than I do, but it's all the same stuff. It's
right.
delicious.
Well, you know what I think? I think because it's a peasant soup, it should be rustic.
There you go.
So it's just me thinking that.
One of my students came from Russia. One of my students, exchange student.
Do you know
she made
Hoffman?
borscht. She made borscht, and she grated all of the vegetables. Grated
Wow.
them.
Everyone does it differently.
See? I was amazed when I saw that.
Want some cucumbers?
I just want more soup.
I know. Well, we're gonna go eat, folks. You can try it too. Experiment with different vegetables if you want to. You don't have to add the beets if you don't want to. You don't have to add the potatoes if you want to. It's up to you. But you do want to use beef.
Exactly.
Yeah. Anyhow, that's how you do it, folks. Check out Mom's website at ingridturnertoday.com. Follow me on Twitter at cookingwithkime with the capital E. Like the fan page at facebook.com/cookingwithkimberly. My shows are on ifood.tv/cookingwithkimberly and youtube.com/cookingwithkimberly. And my site is cookingwithkimberly.com. That's it. That's all. Be a champion in your kitchen and eat deliciously. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Ooh, with some fresh crusty bread.